Hello, students. So we're going to go over the couple pages for you so you're ready to go. Tomorrow I have my sub. We are on page 12 right now. We're going to talk about how to pick the right diet for animals in the zoo. Start right here on page 12. It says, when feeding animals, whether it is an animal at the zoo or your own pet at home, it is vital for you to provide a diet that is biologically appropriate. Use the tables on the next pages. You will work together to think about a biologically appropriate diet for different species. Each species must be offered a minimum of 3 food items daily. And keep in mind how many kilograms/pounds of food that each animal requires per day. So here's our first question right here. Based on the chart on page 13, which types of foods is the protein content the highest? Okay, let's go to page 13. And we're looking in this kind of top part right here for which types of protein content is the highest. And if you're kind of looking right here in this column, it says protein content. Think of it like a piece of pie, right? So if you had a piece of pie and 60% of it was protein, that would be a lot of protein content. So I want to get the top 4 foods with the highest protein content. So if I look down here, I see deer is at 80%, pretty high. Rabbits in the 70s. We got frogs in the 70s and quails in the 70s. So if I want to give an animal a food with a lot of protein in it, okay, I'm going to feed them deer, rabbit, quail, and frog. And the quail is like a small, like chicken, okay? So we have deer, rabbit, quail. If you need to pause this video, please go and pause it. Whatever the case may be. So protein, it's usually found in animal products. Let's go to the next question. Based on the chart on page 13, which type of foods is the carbohydrate content the highest? So we're going to go back to page 13, and we're looking for carbohydrates. We'll come back to this stuff in a minute. So this food, I know it's animal products because it has protein content that's high, fats that are high, carbs that are low. So proteins have high protein, medium fat, low carbs. This next chart here, I know it's hard to read. Notice that it is all vegetables or all plants. And if you look at the protein, well, there's some protein, not as high as the meat though. There's very minimal fat, but look at all these carbohydrates in here, okay? This food is mostly carbs, and carbs are mostly like sugar or grains, and they are what fills you up and gives you energy. So the question was, which type of foods have the highest carbohydrate content? So I see here we have, look at that orchard grass. 85% of that is carbohydrates. So if that was a pie of carbohydrates, about, 9, if you had like a pie that was 10 slices, 9 out of 10 slices would be all carbs. So we have orchard grass is high. Another one, let's see here, little quick scan. Strawberries, super high, 90% carbohydrates. And think of it like this, the more carbohydrates, the more sweeter it's going to taste. That's why strawberries taste really, really sweet, because they are high in carbohydrates. So strawberries is in the 90s. I'm going to scroll up here. Cantaloupes, 89%, super high right there with the carbohydrates. So strawberries, cantaloupe. Apples, another one that's super high, 89%. And then we said the orchard or the orchard grass. It's like a big bale of hay that you would see kind of like in like on a farm somewhere, basically, dried out. So strawberries, cantaloupes, apples, orchard grass. Remember, pause it if you need to. Strawberries, whoops, strawberries, cantaloupes, um, apples, and orchard grass. All right, so these type of foods are going to help us determine what our animals kind of eat, which you kind of watch in that first ed puzzle video, right? Now let's look at this chart right here. This chart is really confusing. However, let's kind of break it down step by step, and it'll help you kind of, figure out what's actually happening here. Let's first talk about if we were to feed an African lion, okay, what kind of food would it need to eat and how much food would it need to eat, okay? So if we look at these numbers here, it says the African lion, the highest number that we see, this kind of represents how many kilograms it needs of food or the weight of food it needs. It needs this much protein and this much fat in each piece of food it eats, each piece of food that it actually eats. So if I were to give an African lion, let's say I gave him like a hamburger, right? I want that hamburger to be mostly protein, a little bit of fat. He doesn't need carbs in his diet, okay? So let's highlight this protein here, make it green, because we know that this animal is a meat eater and thus it needs a lot of protein if we were to feed it at the zoo. Now the question is, how much protein does a lion need in each of its servings? So a lion needs, and these numbers mean the same thing. I'm going to make this number actually kind of the magenta. A lion needs 5 to 6 kilograms of protein, right? See how the numbers are connected, of protein and fat each day. Now, kilograms to pounds, that's like 12 pounds to 14 pounds. If you're doing curling like one of those 15-pound weights, it needs about 15 pounds of food per day. All right. I know it needs the most protein because that's the highest number for the lion. Now, let's take a look at Grevy's zebra. Between the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, I want you to highlight the highest number for the Grevy's zebra in green. Give me about a second to do that. So which number is the highest protein, fat, or carbohydrates for the zebra? 0.9 for protein, 0.1 for fats, 5.4 for carbs. If you said carbohydrates, you are correct. This animal, Grevy zebra, we know zebras are herbivores. Herbivores we know need the most carbohydrates, and this needs 10 to 15 pounds of food, kilograms of food, which kind of adds up to 22 to 32 pounds of grass or plants. That's a lot of grass. All right. If you've ever mowed a lawn and that bag fills up with grass, to get 22 pounds in that bag of dried out grass, you'd have to probably mow like, I don't know, maybe 2 football fields with the grass for him to get full. It's a lot. Let's highlight that number there. Because in a zoo, we don't want to waste money giving them too much or too little food, right? Let's go to the baboon, the Guinea baboon next. Now, this is a tricky one here. Baboons need protein, a little bit of fat, and carbohydrates. So for this one, highlight the 2 highest numbers. Because a baboon is actually what we call an omnivore. They eat both plants and animals. So this one is green. They need some protein. and this one is carbohydrates. It needs some plants. It needs both. So it needs about a pound, pound and a half of food in each serving. It's not too much, but remember though, in a zoo, we don't want to waste money feeding all of our animals because zoos have to run on a budget, right? All right. Let's see what's next here. We have the hedgehog, the last animal we're going to be talking about here. The African hedgehog needs this is a hard one, 0.005 proteins, 0.001 fats, 0.0008 carbohydrates. It needs about very little amount of food each day. But actually the highest number for this one is, I want you to choose. Now, if you chose protein, you are correct. So even though hedgehogs are, they are carnivores, right? But they're super tiny animals. They need about, a quarter pound of food each day, which is not a lot of food. Okay, so that's kind of part one of what we're doing. We know what each animal is, what they need, and how much they need to eat each day. Okay, let's go to part two and pause it if you need to, okay? Complete the chart below based on the knowledge gained during this lab in pages 13 and 14. I wish we were in person because I actually do a little lab about this. So African lion, the feeding niche, highlight one. Is the lion a C, a carnivore, H, herbivore, or O, omnivore? Well, if I double check up here, needs the most protein, we know it is a carnivore. Make that one yellow. Grevy's zebra. As stated before, the zebra, is it a carnivore, herbivore, or omnivore? Well, Grevy's zebra, it needs carbohydrates. Carbohydrates tell me that a zebra is an omnivore based off of its diet. The baboon, it needs protein and carbs to sustain itself. Okay. This is actually, oh wait, I messed that one up, didn't I? Whoops. The Grevy's zebra is a herbivore, excuse me. Good catch, Nick. The baboon is an omnivore because look up here, needs protein and carbs. Then the African hedgehog needs only those proteins, right? So therefore, this is definitely a carnivore. So I'll take a minute to just let you get those filled in if I'm going too fast. But remember, our goal is to pick a diet for the animal on the next page, and then the reasoning why I picked the diets. So I'm trying to think, I got an animal in the zoo, what am I going to feed it based off of what I have available and what it eats in the wild? Two different things you're trying to look at there, right? Okay. So let's talk about feeding that lion first. I'll do one, we'll do one together, maybe two together, and then I want you to do two on your own. Okay? African lions need a diet high in protein and 5 kilograms. We need to pick 3 foods that add up to 5 and are heavy in protein. Page 13 on this top chart here. 3 foods that are high in protein, right? And add up to, what did I say? 5. High in protein here, add up to 5 over here. So, right off the bat, I'm going to pick the deer, high in protein, and that already gives me 5 kilograms right there. So deer is one of these animals. Let's go back up. We're going to pick the deer. See what else we can get. So we're almost got, our full amount that we need in kilograms. Maybe I'll pick something small because, sometimes, we don't want to waste money feeding our zebra or our lion, excuse me. We actually give it the proper amount of stuff too, though. You know what else I might give it to? I might give this, a mouse and maybe like a small duck. Okay, mouse and duck. Oh, the most important part here is why did I give this animal that diet? Well, number one, these foods are high in protein, right? Add up to 5. And pause it if you need to. On page 14, I have a species information card that kind of tell me what they would kind of eat in the wild. So if you need more information and more help, in this paragraph here, it says, in the wild, lions eat wildebeest, zebras, buffaloes, gazelles, warthogs, and other ungulates that may be in this area. If large game is scarce meaning not available, they will eat small game or even rodents. So that's why I chose the frog and the mouse, because if a mouse, like a hurt mouse, drives by a lion, he'll just bam, he'll eat that as like a little snack, like a little Snickers bar or something like that, just because it's convenient for him. Okay, so we're doing 3 things. 1, we look at the animal's what it needs, to how much it needs, and why it needs it. So what it needs and how much. Okay. If you need to, you can do this on your own, or you can follow along with me as I keep doing this. So you can either, finish this video and be done with it if you understand it, or keep following along with me. I'll do the Grevy's zebra next. So the zebra, it's an herbivore. It needs 10 to 15 kilograms of carbohydrates or plants for herbivores each day. Let's go down here. Looking at the zebra, it's got to add up to 15. I might not know what a zebra likes to eat. Second paragraph, they prefer tall, coarse grasses. It's like tall and rough. Different type of plant material. So we see that's in that paragraph there. So zebra, it's got to add up to 15, and it's got to be high in protein or high in carbohydrates. So what's high in carbohydrates? We said, ooh, look at this, the orchard grass. That's a good one. Orchard grass, high in carbs. That gives me kind of 5 points. Maybe the Timothy hay, high in carbohydrates, another 5 points. So we have, let's go back up. Pause it if you need to. Orchard grass, Timothy hay. And let's pick one more. Let's pick the red clover hay. It's another one that's high. Okay. These foods, these are high in carbohydrates and add up to that kind of 15 number that we're looking for. 15 kilograms. Okay. So hopefully this is starting to make sense for you now. You have 2 left to do on your own. So you're going to do the baboon. He needs plants and animals, and the hedgehog is only plants. So remember, if you don't
if you don't get the numbers right over here in this kind of part, that's okay. I'm more concerned with this part and kind of like the reasoning. Why? So is it high in carbohydrates, high in protein, high in both? I need this done and this done for those two columns. After you finish this chart, you need to next finish pages 15 and 16 on your own. So for page 15, you're going to be reading the questions, kind of summarizing what we've learned this week in this packet. Okay? For example, question 1 says, which characteristics for each category below would support that an animal is an herbivore? So this section should be all about herbivores. What in the digestive system on pages 8 and 9 makes it an herbivore? Okay, this is right from pages 8 and 9. Herbivores have this, this, and this. What about their teeth make it an herbivore? Pages 10 and 11. What about the types of food they need to eat? We just did it on page 12. Oh my goodness, and that should say page 12 too. That must have, yeah, page 12. So that's what you can do for part 1. For part 2, same thing, but about the carnivore for part 2. Okay. So what makes it a carnivore? What does the digestive system look like? And page 3, or part 3, omnivore. Okay. So you're just, these are not new questions. You're just summarizing what we have learned in class. Kind of this one page right here, these pages right here. All right. You guys are awesome. I'm sorry I couldn't be there today. My meeting was rescheduled, but I will be checking on GoGuardian. And if you need any help, I'll pop in after class. Good work, you all.